You are now listening to Tribbles and Ecstasy, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Friday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time.
This is Admiral James T. Kirk of Federation Starship Enterprise. Your presence here is an act of war. You have 2 minutes to surrender your crew and your vessel, or we will destroy you.
Admiral Kirk, this is your opponent speaking. Do not lecture me on treaty violations, as this broadcast is intended for mature audiences. In the following podcast, there will be thoughts and opinions expressed that in no way reflect your Federation, this station, website, or affiliated partners.
Who is this? How dare you?
Who I am is not important. Listener discretion is.
You Klingon bastard.
Space, the final frontier. These are the voyages of the starship Tribbles. Her ongoing mission to explore strange new worlds, to seek out new content and new stuff, to boldly go where no podcast has gone before.
Another night of Tribbles and Ecstasy. Hey, 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 hey! Hey, 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 hey!
Hello and welcome to episode 234 of Tribbles and Ecstasy. I'm your host, Midnight Shadow, and joining me in the studio today we have got...
Hello everybody, it's Sun, and something happened yesterday. I wonder what it was.
What's up, guys? It's me, Stu Dog.
And hey guys, it's Timberwolf. Finally, the dogs have reunited. Well, dog and wolf. I'll take wolf classification, a little bit better.
So, happy anniversary to all the Trekkies. We are broadcasting live on Friday, the 9th of September. So, yesterday was officially the 50th anniversary of Star Trek when it first hit the air. Yeah, this time we're going to start off a little bit differently. Instead of going straight into gaming news, we're going to talk a little bit about Star Trek and sort of what it means to us in general. So, well, let's start off. Stu-Dog, you've not been around for a little while. Do you want to let people know what Star Trek sort of means to you and how it was that you actually got into Star Trek itself?
Yeah, sure. I'll kick off. Well, once upon a time, around about, I'm not entirely sure when. It must have been about 93, 94 kind of time. Me and my brother used to watch Quantum Leap on Sky One,
Oh boy.
and then oh boy. And then one day I was really late in getting home from school, and it was after Quantum Leap had just finished, and I caught the end of something, and it turned out to be a very early episode of TNG. Specifically, I only caught the last 10 minutes of it, but Wesley Crusher was drunk in command of the engineering section and had managed to rip all the isolinear chips out of the main engineering, and the ship was nigh on doomed, until he managed to deflect a stellar fragment and save the ship. Save the ship like he did any other day of the week, I suppose. But this caught my imagination, seeing this, and since then I made it a point to watch this show and get to know it. I started off absorbing as much Star Trek as I could. It was on BBC Two at 6 at night after it was on Sky One. There were episodes of the original series, and the movies were on quite often as well. But I just saw this image of a good future in this show. Something that, everything else seemed to show this bleak and dirty future. At the time, Space Precinct was on, which showed a future full of crime. But in watching Star Trek, it just seemed like a nice world, a good world, something to look forward to.
Okay. What about you, Timberwolf? Timberwolf? I think we lost him.
He's dead, Jim.
Or
Yep.
he went to go get a drink.
Nope, I'm here. Damn thing.
You forgot to press the button.
I did. I forgot to press the button.
Are you giving me another moment of silence there, man?
Yeah, I was. For me, quite honestly, I started watching Star Trek when I was like 7. It was Next Generation was new on television. That was the end all be all. And it was a great thing to watch. I can't remember the first episode I ever watched. I do know the first movie I watched, which really got me into it, and that was The Undiscovered Country. More or less at that time, it was the end of Captain Kirk and Spock's journey as captain and first officer of that ship, and I loved the story that was done. I loved how, as I watched more and more of the original series, how that was done, The Next Generation, and I've just been watching it ever since. The one that I recommend to everybody watch, it's my go-to, would be In the Pale Moonlight, just because of how it was written, how compelling it is, that kind of thing. I love that episode. So it's one that it draws me into Star Trek because it's not just starship combat. It's dealing with your inner demons. It's wrestling with which is more important, you or the fate of the galaxy kind of deal. It's just, I don't know. Between Undiscovered Country and In the Pale Moonlight, I've been hooked. There's no way you can take that away from me now.
What about you, Sunseal?
Well, oddly enough, I've discussed this before, but let's just conveniently forget that happened and retcon the whole idea to today. Okay, just like Trek does.
Well, the thing is, yeah, we've discussed some of these things before, but we do get new people listening, and yeah, I
Well, of
think
course.
it's relevant for sort of being the anniversary.
It's a new show. It's a new audience. We have to tell the story anew in some respects. But yeah, honestly, I don't remember the year it was, but I was growing up, getting home after, or not even home after school. I went straight to daycare because my mother was a nurse at a hospital, and she worked the second shift. So she didn't get off till about 10 o'clock at night, and it was about 10 to 11 before she could pick us up. So 10 o'clock was generally about the hour that most kids would be in bed, and there was The Next Generation in syndication every night while we were at daycare. And it was interesting to watch this like old bald guy talk about these moral values that I was basically just learning about because I was in advanced schooling at the time, and it captured something, and then the mix of light combat captured the there's action in this too aspect of a childhood essentially, and I didn't. It was fascinating to watch as Data would say, to watch as a child because it was something to sit there and watch, and it would capture you, and you didn't understand all the concepts that were going on, but it was cool to watch. After that, Trek just kind of fell off the map until about 90, was it 96, 97, when Voyager came on, and I'm like, ooh, I think I might want to watch that. Because I remembered that from my childhood, and here I am as an early teen, and this is a captain that's female. So I sat down and started watching that, and I went, see, this I can get behind because this is more relatable to what's going on in my life and dealing with just just the crap of growing up in a place where you kind of don't belong.
For me, my brothers used to watch Star Trek when it was on BBC Two, and yeah, when it came to the original series, I really didn't like it. I especially didn't like Kirk, so I didn't really have any interest in sort of watching that. Not to mention, it just looked awful. Um, when it came to TNG, I thought that was a lot better, but again, for me, I was more into sort of the action stuff, the comedy things at that time. It wasn't until sort of '97 I was just staying in to sort of look after my brothers and my sister. They're out sort of playing with their friends, so I was just in case they needed somebody. And sort of, yeah, 17 at the time. And yeah, Voyager came on. I think it was season 3. And I sort of related to it because when I was 8, sort of, I'd moved down from Scotland to England, so sort of had left family, and yeah, I could sort of relate to people sort of being away from family, wanting to get home, trying to make sort of do what they could, make the best out of things, and I related to Star Trek at that point in my life, and I got into it. Um, and it ended up that I was actually when was back when people used video stores and VHS tapes. I was actually going down to the video store to get the next episode of Star Trek Voyager because the BBC wouldn't show it for years to come. And sort of at that time, we hadn't got Sky TV either. So it's just so yeah, kept going down to the video store to get the next one, hopefully before everybody else tried getting it and got put on the waiting list. Um, and then from there, I sort of backtracked to watch sort of the other series, and but really getting into Star Trek, that really didn't start until I'd say 2011 properly, when I actually started playing Star Trek Online. It was that really got me into Star Trek, and yeah, that's what sort of got me to this point, really. So, with this being the 50th anniversary, have any of you guys been doing anything for the 50th that you haven't really done in previous years? Timberwolf, have you been doing anything?
I mean, honestly, not particularly. I mean, just I did the I did the conventions in Vegas. That was about it. So nothing really special on my end.
What about you, Sansil?
I joined a podcast and started talking about how lonely the Klingons are. Oh wait, that happened last year. My bad. But no, I really haven't done anything this year outside of watch and enjoy other people's enjoyment of the 50th, because I kind of look at Toss and go, yeah, it's quirky, it's entertain, it has some entertaining value, it has some morality to it, but it's not my cup of tea.
What about you, Stu Dog?
Must admit that I haven't really done anything. Well, at this exact moment in time, I'm wearing a red engineering division TOS shirt, but apart from that, no, I haven't done much yesterday.
Well, for me, especially since Netflix UK actually got all the TV series, I have actually been rewatching Star Trek, or in some cases, actually watching it, because when it came to the animated series, I'd never seen any of it. And
You were finding new episodes of The Next Generation, too.
Yeah, I've actually found a couple of episodes that I'd never actually seen. It's just like, ooh, there's a couple of things I kept thinking, oh, I haven't seen this one as well, and then it'd get a bit further, and oh, yes, I have. It'd just been so long since I'd seen some of these, because, yeah, especially with the BBC and the way they sometimes showed these things when it came to sort of sports being on and things like that. Yeah, a lot of the time I saw these episodes out of order, or I'd only seen part of an episode, which was also the same with the original series as well. I'd seen quite a lot of them, but not always in their entirety, and sort of, yeah, couldn't always remember it, and because I didn't really have any enthusiasm for Star Trek back then, I wasn't completely paying attention to sort of what the episode was about. So yeah, so far this year, as I said, since Netflix has got all the TV series, I've gone through and watched all of the original series, all of the animated series. I've gone through all of Enterprise again, because I'd only seen some episodes multiple times, but for the most part, when it was on TV, I saw it when it came out. So yeah, I went back and watched all of that. Because I'd actually gone and watched all of the original series, I'd then watched all of Star Trek Continues, and I've still got the new episode to watch. So yeah, that's what I've been doing. So yeah, I'm now halfway through season 3 of The Next Generation. So yeah, I'm slowly getting through.
I've been working my way through Voyager myself. We'd been recording it. It'd been on one of the digital stations, and I just set it to like record every day until it runs out of episodes.
But yeah, I've actually been enjoying it. Sort of a little bit like Sunseal. I've never thought much of the original series. It was a little bit easier to watch since it got remastered, but still, for me, Kirk is the worst captain. I still just find him such a sort of womanizer, and although I know for the times the original series was sort of in many ways a huge leap in sort of TV programming, but yeah, compared to even what you saw in TNG, there was still a lot of equality that the original series is missing. So it's just like, it still sort of grates a little bit, and even when I did I was going back and watching the original series, I ended up taking a break for a little while, and I watched another series on Netflix called The Good Witch, because it's just like, no, I need a break from Kirk. Cause yeah.
You know that episode where he gets split into two, and there's the weird alien dog thing?
I think that's What Are Little Girls Made Of?
Yeah, the way a lot of people behind the scenes tell the story about Shatner, he was more like the evil Kirk than he was the good Kirk. And if that's the case, I understand completely why oh god, I can't remember her name, Yeoman Rand, why she left the show entirely.
Wasn't that the one where he looks like he's holding this big sort of sex toy?
Well, no. That's the one where where the evil him is trolling around the ship carrying a bottle of Saurian brandy, drinking it, and trying to essentially rape Janice Rand.
Yeah.
It's like, that's one of those episodes where you're like, yeah, if Grace Lee Whitney was actually experiencing that not just from him but from other people on the set, I completely am behind her 100% for leaving the show. That's uncalled for. And I think it's actually rather telling that her last episode, if I'm not mistaken, is Miri. When they go down to the planet that's found the Fountain of Youth, and the children are like 300 something years old, and they're all getting infected with this thing that's about to kill them off. One of her last lines is, I always tried to get you to notice my legs, and now look at them. And she's got like all these splotches all over her legs, and it's like, yeah, okay, that's really skin crawly.
Yeah. But yeah, there's lots of things like that which for me it wasn't that enjoyable to watch. So yeah, I ended up having to take a break from the original series. But
It's almost as bad as watching the old Sean Connery versions of 007, where he gets the girl by forcing himself on her. It's like, ew.
When the girls' names were things like Octopussy.
Or Plenty of Tool.
Yeah, plenty.
the thing is, although it's very easy to sort of bash the original series, if it wasn't for that, we wouldn't have the rest of Star Trek that we've come to enjoy. So I can, and especially being a lot older, and I can appreciate the storytelling and the points behind the story a lot more than what I did when I was younger as well.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I did enjoy a lot more of the original series episodes than I ever did previously. So there was that. But yeah, as I said, if it wasn't for the original series, we wouldn't have had anything else at the end of the day. So it's not all bad. There were some really good episodes in there. It's just lots of aspects of it that is just sort of sometimes really hard to sort of watch. But now, one of the things that I did actually do yesterday is I did actually watch The Man Trap. So I thought, as it's the anniversary, I actually let my son stay up a little bit later, even though it was a school night, and sat and watched The Man Trap.
You're turning into AP!
Please don't insult me. So, but no, he'd seen most of it before, but yeah, he enjoyed just being able to stay up. So yeah, that was sort of just nice thing to do. And then sort of I watched more of my TNG watch that I'm doing. Although I went to go to bed about 3:30 in the morning, and then thought, oh, damn it, I could have actually watched the video. Leonard Nimoy's son just released the video for
For the Love of Spock, yeah.
For the Love of Spock. So I thought I was going to watch that, but I'd completely forgotten about the fact that I'd got the link for it. So it's like, damn it. So yeah, I'll be watching that this weekend. But no, just made sure I had an enjoyable sort of Star Trek night, and actually sort of got in and managed to do all my dailies for Star Trek Online. So yeah, it's just nice trekking it out for the evening.
I'm not going to say anything because anything I do makes it sound like I'm making fun of another podcast, so I'm not going to do that.
Well, I was going to say that it's an awesome feeling to only do the mirror event on 2 characters. That's them completed it now.
That's good. I think I'm actually going to be a day short.
Oh,
I did
man.
I did the calculations yesterday. It's like, oh no. So it's just like, yeah, bugger. So I'm gonna have to try and work out. Okay, if I try and do it at each of the 20-hour points, can I actually get that extra game in?
Totally, man.
Because of all the sort of laptop problems I've had with the overheating of the fan and the GPU, and it's just like sort of work. Just I just haven't been able to get in game, and yeah, there've been sort of 3-4 days at a time I've just not been in recently. It's just like, no, need the dilithium. So yeah, I did
Well,
the calculations yesterday, and it's just like, oh no, I'm going to be 1 day out.
at around about this time next year, when the event comes back and you've got that one character who needs to complete it, and then you finish the event on that guy, and you get like this year's one, and you're just gonna stand there like date a dozen generations and go, yes!
Yeah.
Because I did that a couple of weeks ago.
Like I
Now,
said, I completely tuned out of this event because it's not worth it.
I gotta say, I was the same way. I did the event for a day, and I haven't done it since.
It's not worth it to run myself ragged for what 50,000 dilithium, some fleet marks, and a card. I'm sorry.
Yeah, if this was Crystalline Catastrophe, I would be doing this in a heartbeat, but you're talking
'Cause
about
it's
something
easy.
that's... Yeah, you're talking about something that, if you're wanting to do it for multiple tunes, since it's, once per tune, well, you're looking at minimum 20 to 30 minutes per run, and half the time when you do a run, you've got 2 to 3 people that are AFK on an average pug run. So it's just, it's not worth the extra headache.
the strange thing is, I don't tend to, because I pug it all the time, but
Same.
I've never actually had issues with people actually doing AFKing.
You are
I
lucky,
think
sir.
in the last 3 years, I've probably had 2 people do that. So yeah, I've been pretty lucky with that because never actually had an issue. But yeah, I only tend to run this on the one character, but I don't mind this event. It's quite good. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
I'll admit that it's been the dilithium that's been drawing me in. I've been trying to do this in conjunction with like the arc questing thing, so as to get 1,000 Zen to go and buy 4 of those packs and just have a bash at getting the Connie.
Yeah, for me, I run these events mainly for the dilithium, especially as these days with work, podcasting, and health, I don't tend to get into sort of play. That's what I use to be able to sort of stack up the
Yeah,
dilithium
you're
I
building
have
up
to
like a
refine
stockpile.
each day. So it's these events that I use on my main character to sort of get dilithium. So yeah, I find it very useful personally.
Is it sad that I want the temporal to list more than anything?
No.
I want the temporal Taliss. All those Fed people who want the temporal Connie. Okay, that's cool. I would really like that Taliss, because outside of the one ship that I do have that finally got put into the game as a lockbox, the Zindi Aquatic Carrier. The only other ship I've actually really wanted alien-wise for the Federation has been a First Federation Fesarius class. Because, Cryptic, those people still technically exist.
No.
I don't know if you know that or not, but yeah, the First Federation still kind of exists.
Yes, this massive, massive, massive power that's been there for so long that is only seen once.
Well, I did ask around in some of the social media channels for anyone who wanted to sort of tell us what Star Trek meant to them. And we had Rattler2 feedback on the Stove forums that said, for me, Star Trek isn't about one ship or anything. It's, well, an adventure. But more than that, it's what we could be without our petty differences that we have today. While some people put down others over which Trek they like, sort of 09 JJ Trek haters, I feel that these so-called purists have missed the point entirely. Star Trek isn't about which one is the real Trek. It's about respect, acceptance, and tolerance. Working together towards a better future. Some people are so caught up in what is proper Trek that they could go as far as to disavow anything that Saint Roddenberry didn't have a hand in, which basically kills off everything after TNG Season 2.
Pretty much, yeah.
Some even go as far to say that the original series alone is the one true Trek and all others are blasphemy. Well, they're wrong. All Trek is Trek. It is more than just the story of the original Enterprise. It is the story of a galaxy that these ships exist in. The origins of the Federation in Enterprise. The adventures of James T. Kirk in the original series and in the motion picture era movies. The diplomacy of Jean-Luc Picard and the Enterprise D in The Next Generation. Federation in wartime and life in the frontier in Deep Space Nine. The goal of survival cut off from support in Voyager. Even the reboot movies have a tale to tell, and have given us a second clean slate for stories. How will that reality shape itself after the disruption caused by Nero? There is no one true Trek. True fans do not single out one series over another. A true fan accepts all Trek, flaws and all. Because at the end of the day, it's hope. Star Trek isn't some grim dark future. It's not a war-torn galaxy of hate. It's bright and hopeful. Even during the Dominion War, when things looked grim, the ideals of the Federation were not sacrificed just to win.
I know you're having a moment, Midnight, and I'm going to let you get back to that, but technically, we all know that Cisco kind of upended all of his Federation values for that one episode.
Hey, it was the episode I was just talking about. Nice. It always comes back to
There,
that.
there,
Yay.
there you go. I did
Thank
my
you.
Kanye for tonight.
Blast me if anyone wants, or call me an idealist. But that to me is what Star Trek is about. And I accept all Trek, not just bits and pieces. How I got into Trek was I got started in The Next Generation back in the 90s, and the rest is history. So, thank you very much, Rattler2. But yeah, I do agree that all Trek is Trek. And everyone's always got their preference, as I've already stated. For me, the original series just isn't for me.
Trek is like food. There's all kinds of food that exists in the world with all kinds of flavors. You have your taste, and other people have theirs, but it's all food. It's all Trek.
Exactly.
I'm trying to cut down. Just give me a diet Trek, please.
A diet Trek.
Only half the calories of real Trek.
Not quite Trek enough.
But no, it is true what he says, especially when it comes to the Kelvin timeline. There seems to be a lot more sort of people against that than what you'd get sort of against particular series in what we know as the Prime Universe.
Well, it's because and I'm sorry that I'm defending the JJ Trek haters. Maybe. But a lot of that comes from let's reboot everything right now. And it's let's reboot Star Trek, the original series. And as messed up as the original series is in places, that's some people's taste. And here is a new version of it. It's like New Coke, and it's like, this tastes terrible. Okay, there are some people that actually enjoy New Coke, but there's the vast majority of people who saw the original series and like it. So I guess we're going to name TOS Classic Trek, right?
But after rewatching the original series and then ready for Star Trek Beyond, rewatching Star Trek 09 and Into Darkness, I did notice more that the new films are very much more the original series, and how closer to that type of storytelling it was. Yes, there are lots of parts of each of the films. It's just like, yeah, they really shouldn't have done that. But in a way, you can say that with every single one of the Star Trek films. You can say that to any film that's out there. It's just like, why? But yeah, after rewatching and watching properly the original series, I can see where a lot of the ideas were taken from. And in a way, I appreciated the newer movies more and what they meant. But I think for a lot of people, they look at the newer movies since 2009 and go, that's not Star Trek, because they relate to it more because they're more into the Next Generation, DS9, Voyager, where what Star Trek was then was very different to what it was back with the original series.
Well, I mean, even in Enterprise, you're still dealing with. In Enterprise, it's a conundrum dealing with Enterprise, because visually you're dealing with something after the original series in the 60s with 60s technology. But at the same time, you're also dealing with a before the Federation, where humanity is actually sort of past a whole bunch of bullshit that seems to come right back into place during the founding of the Federation, because of all the other alien races that join the Federation.
Yeah. So yeah, by going back and doing these rewatches that I'm doing, I have appreciated some of the different stories that I've seen before and looked at things a little bit differently. But at the end of the day, when it comes to the Kelvin timeline, they're just fun to watch. Well, for me anyway. But I will still prefer sort of going back and just rewatching Voyager. But we've got sort of more Trek coming. They've of course announced that they're looking to do the fourth movie, And of course, in January, we've got Star Trek Discovery coming to the small screen. So, yeah, it'll be interesting to see how storytelling differs when it comes to this new Trek. Because when it came to Star Trek Beyond, we saw a lot better storytelling, especially character-wise, in the film than we had in, well, in a way I would say, any of the Star Trek films. So yeah, it's definitely going to be good to see what's actually coming next for, well, the next 50 years, with any luck. Okay. Anybody have anything else they want to add before we move on to gaming news?
Honestly, Stu, I really wanted to pull a Kanye moment in there while you were talking about that, because I swear
Yes, I saw that.
This is like, look, Stu, excuse me, I know you're having a childhood moment. I'm like, you're going to get back to that, but we all know that the chief engineer was the one that ripped out those ISO chips.
On the subject of chief engineers, how many chief engineers did the Enterprise have in that first season?
3. They had they had a woman at the start, and then the
It's a blonde girl.
Then the Asian guy was the second in command of engineering.
Mr. Singh, who gets killed off by
he actually
cloud
gets promoted. Thing. He gets promoted, and then he dies.
Hell of a promotion.
Then there's I want to say
that sounds like a Klingon promotion.
I want to say an Indian-ish type guy that's in engineering at one point.
Mr. Singh. I was thinking that was the guy that got killed off.
No. The guy who actually rips out all the ISO chips in engineering is second in command to the lady.
Yes, because she goes to the bridge. Yeah.
He gets promoted to chief engineer at one point in between, and then disappears. You just never see him or her again.
I believe the sequence was McDougal, Argyle, Logan, Lynch, then LaForge. Of course, LaForge wasn't until season 2. Or was it the beginning of season 3? No, it was the beginning of season 2, I think he became...
Because Logan was I'm sorry. Logan was the asshat who thought he knew better than LaForge because Picard left LaForge in command.
Yeah, and he only came back with half the ship.
So, now, when you say you're having a Kanye moment, explain to me what the hell that is.
During one of the various music awards in which Taylor Swift won an award, Kanye threw himself onto the stage, interrupted her acceptance speech, and said, I know you're having this blank, 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 and I'm going to let you get back to that, but we all know Beyonce should have won Album of the Year. That's a Kanye moment.
It was one of the most embarrassing things for anyone ever to witness. Because he was being just an ultimate douchebag, and she's sitting there going, but I earned this, you motherfucker. And it was absolutely terrible. It's one of those things, like, he keeps threatening with various politicians and things and everything. I'm going to leave the country, and everybody is in unison. Fine, leave the country.
I don't know. I don't remember if it was Whoopi Goldberg that said this and she was doing it comedically or not, but somebody was talking about this and was going, our entire community collectively put our faces in our hands and went, oh, for fuck's sake.
Yep.
Well, when it comes to things like that, I never watch them, and yeah. Well, to show how little I follow these people, I actually had to look up who Kanye was.
That's probably the best way, Midnight. Just keep away from it all, eh?
No, but see, that's a thing. For the people who were at STLV, there was a Kim Kardashian and a Khan Noonien West
Yeah.
there.
What?
That was that was an
Yeah,
interesting pairing.
They passed by our booth while we were there, and I'm like, really, really, that's a thing now. Gee, great.
I don't know. We've yet to see a picture of her from the backside holding a champagne glass with you know.
Yeah, there wasn't that much backside on her.
No, just the idea of seeing a Kardashian backside. That would be nice.
All right then. Well, I have no idea what you guys are going on about,
We're
and I
glad
don't
that
think
you
I'm going to
joined us
ask.
tonight on Tribbles and Ecstasy, where we're normally talking about Star Trek, but now we're talking about Kim Kardashian. You're welcome, America.
Welcome to the 50th episode.
Okay. Star Trek Online. So, anybody who was in game yesterday for the 50th anniversary, Star Trek Online did a giveaway. So,
It
available...
actually ran from 2 p.m. yesterday till 2 p.m. today, which is amazing.
So, it is available for 24 hours. And basically, you got the 23rd century uniforms, the TOS Enterprise interior, and the Type 2 hand phaser. And you also got the Galileo class shuttle as well.
F-type shuttlecraft, yay!
So I'd already got that. I'd paid for that a long time ago. So for my main character, there was nothing. But the other 4 free-to-play accounts that I've got, they didn't have that. So I went and claimed those ones. And the Type 2 hand phaser is actually quite helpful because that actually levels with you. So
it can also, once you're level 60, that can also be shoved into the upgrade system to make it Mark 14 too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, what I tend to do is for any of my characters, I literally all my bridge crew, they all just have the Type 2 hand phasers. So what I tend to do is just new character, I just claim a load of those and then give every one of my bridge officers that hand phaser, and then that just levels with them. And then any weapons that I get, I just discard to get the EC straight away.
You know what would be really, really helpful if they had applied that logic to the DS9 bundle, because there are people who still aren't able to reclaim the Type 10 shuttlecraft itself. Not the pet, just the shuttlecraft itself, because it's not in the shuttlecraft store.
I've never tried.
I haven't had any issues with that, but I'll double check.
But yeah, what I'll sometimes do is, instead of using the Type 2 hand phasers, because I've also got the pack where I can get the Bajoran stuff.
Right.
Sometimes the specs for the Bajoran phasers are just that little bit better.
Well, yeah, and a lot of people have been saying that the biggest reason for not being able to reclaim a lot of that stuff is that you have to get rid of the bridge officers too before you can, or not the bridge officers, the duty officers, before you can reclaim that pack.
Right. So
which, I mean, shouldn't it give you like the duty officers once? I mean, you know, because at that point you're just reclaiming at that point you're having to get rid of the phasers, the hand phaser and the rifle too.
Yeah, I tend to go for the Type 2 hand phaser because I just prefer the look of that over the Bajoran ones. So even though they are that a little bit better,
I'm still waiting for the Cardassian snake phasers. Please, the spiral wave snake phasers. Those Egyptian-looking
bananas.
phasers. Yes, but they look Egyptian. You know, with the snake skin kind of aesthetic on it.
Now, we've also currently got a lifetime subscription sale. Now, I'm just trying to see,
That's console.
Yeah.
It's a console
I was
exclusive.
going to say, I think this is just consoles. So yeah, you get the usual perks, I believe. I don't think there's anything in there that isn't part of the usual PC version. And from what I believe, you buy that through the store.
You do.
Yeah, because I'd got a friend of mine messaged me the other day saying, where do you get things like the lifetime packs? And it's just like, well, given...
Speaking of this, I really think we should mention first and foremost, guys, the console version is out.
Yeah. Wouldn't you know it? I'm actually kind of playing it right now.
Unless you're the person who thought that it would be free to play and you have an Xbox.
Yeah.
There's a big stink going on right now because Xbox has locked, not Cryptic, Microsoft has locked Star Trek Online behind their gold membership. So you have to pay a subscription to Microsoft to access Star Trek Online, on top of whether or not you want to pay for a subscription to Star Trek Online through the console.
Yeah, one of my buddies actually was dealing with this the other day, Serve Boulevard on Twitter. He was wanting to play it, and then it's like, well, he can't play it, and he was showing it that, because of the way it's set up, he'd have to pay $15 a month in order to play STO. And that means, as a free-to-play player, you're paying $15 a month on Xbox to play it. If you want to get all the extras from, your gold membership, that equals out to $30 a month, because that's 15 to Microsoft, 15 to Cryptic. So yeah, there has been a huge stink over that, and some apologies have been said about not mentioning that, I guess, in the beginning. But
see, that's the thing. Microsoft set those terms after the fact. As far as Cryptic knew, they were free to play, and as far as their marketing is concerned, technically they are still free to play. They're locked by Microsoft behind a paywall. So guys, don't give shit to... Please, stop giving shit to Zero and go give shit to Microsoft.
yeah. It's the same thing that happened with PlayStation, because I have a PS4. So when it first came out, I was ready to play it, and then Sony, for some unknown reason, decided to have unscheduled maintenance that took out most of their services for a few hours. And this is right after console was released. It was so bad that it took out the actual PlayStation Store. It was absolutely horrendous. The game was great, but Sony had screwed over the initial launch because their servers went under maintenance that they never scheduled, they never announced. So it was one of those things like console launch, I'm loving what I'm seeing, but now they're relying on instead of it being themselves doing all of the server maintenance, now it's PlayStation and Microsoft doing server maintenance. So they're at the mercy of the console owners if there's any server maintenance, if there's an outage. And we all know the first people that are going to hear about it are not Microsoft and Sony.
Welcome to another failed first impression, Cryptic. And welcome to the console market.
Yeah.
Oh god,
it's
this
a
is
shame
just
that
so predictable.
It's a shame that these things have happened with the Xbox.
I mean, like I said,
it's not unexpected.
Yeah, I mean, like I said, on PlayStation 4, I have it up right now. The graphics are nice. I do like some of the lighting. I'm hoping that there's going to be later patches to fix some lighting because it seems awkward. But overall, it's relatively smooth for a console variation of our game. For a PC player, it's awkward as hell, and it takes some getting used to. For a console gamer, it'll play out kind of like Star Trek Shattered Universe in that regard. So it rolled out nice, but then you roll it out, and then 3 hours later, Sony's like, "Oh yeah, by the way, server maintenance, you're down," and your players can't even sign up to actually link their accounts, much less log in. Well, you're the one that released it. You're gonna be the first one to catch flack for it, not Sony, because everybody's gonna assume you knew because you have a contract with Sony. It was really unfortunate, and I mean really unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, if you are wanting to get a lifetime subscription, there is a third off, and that is running from September 6th to September 20th at 10 a.m., which I assume will be Pacific time. So there is a note that says, once this is purchased, in order to receive the rewards, a character must be at least level 5 and have completed the tutorial, and once reaching level 5, you need to log out and log back into the game. So, yeah, bit of a weird thing to have to do, but having not played much in the way of MMOs when it comes to consoles, I don't know if that's a normal thing or not. But yeah, when we usually get the lifetime subscription deals when it comes to the PC, we don't. Is it a third we usually get off?
Yeah.
Or is it? Because I thought it was less than that. I thought it was like quarter. I think. No, because it usually goes down from, was it 300 to 200?
to $2.99, so it's $100
Yeah.
off.
Yeah. Okay. Now, we've had, I think it was Stu Dog, was this you who found about Denise Crosby interviewing? Where
Yes.
she hints about Sealer's Return. Did you want to talk about that?
Yes, I recently saw an interview with Denise Crosby for Space.com, and she was talking about Tasha Yar and Sela, and in the interview she was giving hints as to future appearances in upcoming storylines, which, and I must admit, I haven't heard very much about what's upcoming story-wise, but that's
Nobody has.
That's the only sort of breadcrumbs that I've heard. So in the recent interview, she hints at the return of everyone's favourite megalomaniac, Sela. She's played the role of Tasha Yar, starting off in Temple Ambassador at the 3rd anniversary of the game back in 2013.
Well, the fact that she was in the Star Trek Online panel at New York would have made me think that they were going to do more with her character. And we always knew that she would be back because we heard from devs that there will be more coming eventually.
Well, yeah, she's been pretty much the sole driving force in the celebrity community of Star Trek for Star Trek Online. She's basically the reason that the other actors are in the game at this point, because she drove the cryptic engine towards the other the rest of the cast, and if I'm not mistaken, that pushing is what gave Cryptic the wherewithal to go ahead and get a SAG license or affiliation.
But yeah, hopefully we'll get some more of these storylines finished off. Get some answers to some questions we have. So So yeah, the link will be in our show notes if you would like to read the interview. Now, we have had a new roleplay blog. I must admit, I have not had time to read this one. Things were a little bit hectic for me at work today. Started off with my managing director calling me at 7:30 in the morning, saying one of our customers needs something. So, yeah, I ended up.
But when is that unusual for you?
Very, very true.
Also, hi, Dragon.
Hello.
Hey,
Dragon.
sweetheart. Hey, Steve. Oh, hey, Stu. Yeah, Timber, you're here too. Nice. We've got a crew.
So, yeah, has anybody else had a chance to read this one?
I have.
Nope.
Yep, I have as well.
What did you guys think of it?
So, me? I believe we have a ship coming.
I was thinking very much the same thing.
I honestly think the way they're describing it is the Lucari from Sunrise, they are having mixed as a society their first starship, what they want. Some want exploration, some want combat, and they just don't know what to do. They're asking us for advice. They're asking Tom Paris and Nog for advice, and Tom's like, Enterprise is the same way. The NXO one was the exact same way, and we had to figure it out, and now it's y'all's turn. And it just seems like they're gearing up. Either it's going to be a Lucari-centric mission where we're seeing their new starship as an NPC, or we're going to see something like what we saw for the Kobali, their new flagship, and we'll see their first spaceship that's a hybrid, I guess, and maybe it's playable.
Now, so this won't. So by the sounds of things, it won't be a faction-specific ship. This will be another alien race's ship.
If it comes out as playable, more than likely.
Guys, do you realize this is going to be the new winter event ship?
Yeah.
Probably.
But that's what I'm
was-
saying.
I was thinking something a little bit different. I was thinking along the lines of, the R&D packs that had the Alachi ship, and you could select what kind of a ship it was, whether you wanted it to be a pilot ship or a command ship or an intel ship. This sort of like she's undecided whether she wants a ship for exploring or for war and defense was making me think that it would come in a box and you'd have to pick what you wanted.
That'd actually be a pretty good idea if it was an event starship, but when you claim it, you have the option of, okay, well, you can claim it this time as a command exploration vessel, but the next time you claim it, you can claim it on another tune as a intel tactical escort kind of deal.
Look forward to reading that blog, hopefully at the weekend. So, but yeah, I suddenly realised there's a new roleplay blog out, and I thought, cool. And then I saw how long it was, and thought, I don't have time to do that. So,
Look, I got up an hour before the show was supposed to start, so I didn't even know there was a roleplay blog until I saw the show notes.
I knew there was one. It's just I've been working so flippin' many hours, I did not have a damn chance to read it.
I know that feeling all too well. Well, as always, we had a patch yesterday. They have fixed the Foundry edit tools, so it no longer blocks shooter mode. There's a load of other content fixes and system and character fixes. I didn't notice anything sort of major in there. anything that sort of attracted you guys, thinking, oh yes, that's all done?
I haven't had a chance to even peruse the patch notes because, well, yeah, it's been one of those weeks.
I getcha. What about the rest of you? Timberwolf?
I mean, I saw what you saw, but to me, it's just the only thing that stood out is they finally have done some updating for the tooltips when it comes to the Mako shield and the leech. So it's, I guess, a little bit more clearer in its description and how it operate. Those two particular items operate.
Okay. But as always, a link will be in our show notes. So if you'd like to have a look at them in a little bit more detail, you. Alrighty. Star Trek timelines. We've got a new event this weekend, which is the Trouble with Klingons 2. So that was released on, I think, was that actually started yesterday or did it start today? I think it was yesterday. They seem to be merging into each other recently.
I have an issue with this particular weekend event. It's going to sound almost sunnish when it comes to the complaint.
Oh no! Let me hold on. Just wait a few minutes. I need to go get some popcorn for this.
Okay.
I want to hear this.
My complaint is simply this: we have several legendary Klingons from that era, especially 3 of note: Kang, Kur, and Koloth. That's the trifecta of the original series. So why in the blue fuck do you make some sort of skinny, retarded-looking Martok in the original series your legendary card? Who in their right mind thought this was a great idea? I mean, if you're going to do Trouble with the Klingons as a play on Trouble with the Tribbles, Koloth. Duh. No, we're going to make Martok, we're going to make him half the size that he normally is. We're going to make him look wiry as hell. And we're going to plaster his face on somebody else's body where he's like, "Hi guys, I'm looking for honor." And then we're going to throw him out as the grand
Sounds
prize.
like a Ferengi.
What in the blue hell?
I must admit, I hadn't really noticed. I hadn't really paid any attention.
It's just they brought back Jadzia from 1701 when we had the first Trouble with Tribbles, when it was Jadzia and then the grand prize was Cisco from the original. So they brought her back as a prize in this one. And they've got Ezri Dax as a sniper as one of the, I guess, middle end prizes. But it's just, you had options of Klingons from the original series you could have done, and that was the wrong choice. And on top of that, the character model looks atrocious.
Here's a question. Kang, Kor, Koloth, where are the DS9 versions of these guys?
There you go.
Because I would pair the 3 of them up and send them to an albino Andorian any day.
Heck yeah! See, that's the perfect mission right there. They could add in sending them off with Dax on the hunt for the albino.
But my main problem still remains, and I don't mean not being able to play the game. Where is the crew extension?
Yeah, is with this pack we've got more new characters. So, sort of as mentioned, we've got Koloth from the original series. We've got Antak from Enterprise. We've got Kuruk from Next Gen. We've got the Emergency Command hologram from Voyager, and we've got a hologram Barclay that have been introduced recently. But of course, it's still so impossible to actually get extra spaces.
Yeah.
I've now got to the point where I have it's either 130 or 135 character slots. I think it's 130. To get 5 more slots, I'm now up to paying, I think it's 2,750 dilithium just to get 5 more slots.
Yeah. How about fuck no, you damn crazy Dutch? I'm
And-
sorry.
Wow.
I have
That's a
30.
reference and a half.
Yeah, I only have 30 crew slots. Like, I cannot bring myself to spend any money to get dilithium, to get any more. I really can't. And I don't even play it that much to put in that kind of time. Plus, if anything, if you want to make it more friendly to your average player, give them a better option than spending God knows how much dilithium on getting 5 crew slots. Make it where it's 5 crew slots for an obscene amount of EC in the game, but if they want to unlock 25 at a time, it's dilithium. Like, give everybody an option.
Yeah. But yeah, I've just checked. It's 130 that I've got, and I've got that maxed out. Yeah, in order to upgrade, yeah, I'd need to get. Well, at the moment, I've got 1,000 dilithium. That because basically I'm just getting the stipend because I pay for the little month, and yeah, it's got to the point where it's just well, if I want to save up for the next one, that's basically my entire month's worth of the lithium gone for 5 extra slots.
And
then
that's ridiculous.
The next one will probably be even more. And it's just like, well, what's the point? And actually, for the first time since the game launched, I think, because I'm on day 25 of my monthly card at the moment, I'm actually thinking that I probably won't actually get the next one. Because it's just like, well, what's the point? I can't use my dilithium to get more packs because I haven't got the character slots to deal with getting the extra crew. So, why should I bother?
Whoa, wait, hold up. Midnight saying that he does not want more tunes of some kind. Holy shit, mark it on the calendar.
See, this is how a lot of people actually feel about Star Trek Online. This is why people are getting burnt out of Star Trek Online, and it's not from the perspective of I don't have the available stuff to me. It's just I am utterly bored of the content. Even the new content is utterly boring to me. Why should I play it? And it's just amazing that you're hitting that wall with timelines.
It's honestly not that amazing because it's just you actually get, I guess, fairly burnt out on it quickly, considering the way the upgrades are done, and everything else. It can burn you out over a couple of days if you're not careful. And the only thing that keeps you going, like for me, I'll log in every so often. The big time that I'll actually pay attention to it is when you have a weekend, like right now. But even now, like I'm not keeping up with it like I normally would, because it's just kind of, well, if I get another crew, I have to figure out which one I want to delete to keep that card. And if I want to even delete it, it can get burnt out a lot faster than Stowe.
The issue that I've got, actually, we've got Pastor Beamer in chat that says it's Midnight feeling okay. The issue I've got is, of course, if I've got a new character and I want to bin another one, then I need to try and figure out which one isn't actually sort of being used in sort of like the challenges or the arenas, and it's just, yeah, I haven't got the time to do that. But for me, when it comes to Star Trek Online, I've never had the issue of burnout because, yeah, I've got so many characters at different points of the game that I can go in, just do something different. Most of them are parts of different fleets, so I play with different people. That for me, I don't get that. Whereas with timelines, it's exactly the same thing. Even the PvP, to me, I don't even think is actually PvP because I'm sure I'm not actually playing another person because just the way that it queues up. It's just, I've never had to wait for somebody to actually have pressed and to connect. I think it basically takes their, as they say in Stowe, their paper doll. They've got the stats of that person, and it's part of their little AI which just does that in the background. So it's not really player versus player. And yeah, I just find that I can't do things in the game, whereas with Star Trek Online, I can still do anything. And as I said, I've got so many different characters, and there are some missions that I haven't done for ages, so I can go back, play that again whenever I want. Whereas when it comes to timelines, it just hasn't got that replayability. I've even stopped reading the story stuff that comes with the things. I'm just filling the stuff in to go. I'm not even reading the story anymore. Some part of me thinks, why am I still doing it? But yeah, when we first started, it was something new. Because as I've mentioned before, I've never been much for sort of mobile games. This is the first time I've really played a mobile game, and for me, collecting the characters is supposed to be one of the things you're supposed to be able to do, and they just force you not to be able to do that. Because I know they created this sort of vault, what is it, cryostasis.
Stasis, yeah.
And that's the other thing. They're expecting players to play that much to be able to access it. Because I looked into it, I was like, "Oh, cool!" And then it's like, no, you have to max out the character first. So it has to be a level 100 before you can dismiss that tune and then pull them back out for free. And I'm just going, I've been playing this since beta, and I still don't even have a level 100 tune. I just finally leveled 1 to 90, I think 3 days ago. Like, that's wishful thinking unless you're just constantly on it dropping stuff.
Well, according to my vault, I've got 5 crew that are immortalized. So I've got 5 out of my crew that I could put into the vault to free up some slots. But it's just like, well, really, those ones that are level 100, I'm generally using for various things, and I actually deliberately leveled them up in order to do better in sort of like the challenges and things like that. So it's just like, so yeah, I can't even use that. And it's also looking at the cryostasis vault, the amount of characters I haven't got. And it actually says I've got 5 out of 244 immortalized. That means there's 244 characters you can get in timelines. And I think somebody once said that you can only get a maximum of 180 slots. Now, whether or not that's true or not, I don't know. But it's just, given the fact that just to get to 135 is costing, or would cost me, sort of basically a month's worth of the monthly dilithium stipend, so I'd have to wait a month to get 5 more. And each week we're almost getting that many characters into the game. It's just, you cannot keep up with it. And
it's a cash grab.
Yeah, unless you're paying constantly, there's no way to keep up with it, and that's why I stopped. I'm glad that they had that hiccup in the game where the monthly subscription, more or less, after a month it cut out because they changed how it was. I was glad because it was Well, I'm getting a lot of good stuff off the Dabu wheel, but at the same time, I can't save up for anything else. And that, it was cheap to do, but still, I I couldn't bring myself to do it anymore. I'm glad it canceled out, and I'm slowly getting to the point myself where I have asked that question, Midnight, why am I still playing it? Like, it's kind of nice to pick up every, couple of weeks and really just play it for a few hours, but I don't even play it during my lunch breaks anymore. I I would rather like watch YouTube.
Well, that's the thing. I usually do it at lunch, but I'm not looking at what the content is coming up because I'm just firing off shuttles. I'm not doing anything with it. I haven't tried to progress any of the storyline for so long because I just got so fed up of always hitting that wall with chronotons. I end up saving them. We've actually had Pastor Beamer in chat says they've got something like 1,500 chronotons saved up, but just I don't have the time or interest to do any of the missions to level up the crew. And it's true. I'm in exactly the same. I think I've got just over 1,400 chronotons at the moment. And the thing is to level up the crew, especially when you get a little bit higher, the amount of times I end up rerunning the same missions repeatedly to try and get one type of item. Now, yes, they've now added the extra sort of crafting solution that you've got.
Oh, don't get me
But
started on that.
the cost of those. I leveled up one character and maxed out how much you could use that facility once, and it's just like, yeah, given the cost for leveling that character up, yeah, I'm not doing that again, and I haven't touched that system again.
Yeah, that was my other little rant about the game right now. How is it, oh, I'm gonna craft this item that is only behind a shuttle mission, and it's a common item that my level 10 tune needs. Oh, well, let me craft it. This crafting system is nice. And it takes, to fill up quickly, it takes well over 2,000 tier 5 starship schematics, and God knows how much more just to get it to 100%.
Yeah.
It takes you almost clearing out your inventory that you've been saving up this whole time in this game just to get that item. And I'm like, no. No, I'm not doing this, because God knows what happens if you've got to get an item that's level 80 or level 90. I mean, it's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, no, I did that once and then went, yep, I'm not using that one again. It was it was as simple as that. So
Midnight, Sun,
Yes.
be glad you're not playing it, because at least we're ranting. I know your rant would be
Well,
epic,
while
but
you
it's
guys
saving
were
you that.
while you guys were ranting, I was actually applying a hypo and picking up Stu off the floor because you killed him.
Thank you.
Arg. Yes, this game sounds it sounds like it's run by the Grand Nagus or something.
Yeah, it's one of those things long term. I don't see myself. I would see myself plugging up my PlayStation 2 and going back to Star Trek Encounters before continuing going this. And that's saying something.
I wasn't a fan of Encounters. I played it quite a lot recently when I was in Aberdeen. It was one of the few games I had in the staff room at work.
You guys should play Elite Force.
Now I'm waiting for the HD upgrade that I've seen some players making.
yeah,
Elite
well,
Force still holds up as one of the better Trek games, aside from Borg. But Borg has that quirky, corny, full motion video stuff. And it has Q in it, so naturally it wins everything.
I think my favourite part was when he assimilates the player and the player goes to the bridge and kills everyone.
well, I just got a Jadzia Dax from the shuttles. I Only thing is, I'd already got it maxed out to 4 stars, so yeah, that's now pushed me to 131 crew. And yeah, to unlock the 5 slots, it's 2,450.
So you've
yeah.
sold everything that you own, and now you just live in a cardboard box.
So yeah, that would take 25 days of the monthly card. So basically, it's the entire month just to save up for that. So it's just like, yeah, doesn't
At this
really
point,
give me
I
any...
guess I'm glad I'm kind of not playing.
Yeah, I told you. You should be glad. We're saving you that headache.
But,
Oh, but the rants I could go on if I were.
yeah, it's just frustrating. But as I said, when it comes to Stowe, I find there's a lot more replayability. And there's
Ever
just...
the optimist, aren't you, Midnight? It's just frustrating. Could
Yep.
be worse. It's just frustrating.
Does it make you want to go up to your window, stand next to it, and go, "Con"?
That would be funny.
But it just means that where beforehand I was literally going in every hour or two, especially after work, sort of in the evenings, it'd be every hour or two I was going in trying to do some more shuttles and things like that. These days, I will, while I'm eating breakfast, I will fire off some shuttles. I will then collect them and fire off some more at lunchtime. I will then do the same usually when I get home, if I remember. And I will run... I'm doing the arena stuff, and I do the challenges when I can get some chronotons. And literally, when it comes to the challenges and the chronotons, I've got 3 crew. I use the same mission when it comes to doing the... Sorry. I've got the same characters I use to do the first mission on Epic, because I know they will go through that, and I just replay that same mission to build up some extra chronotons. So I get 25 for each time I run it. I'm not doing anything else. I'm not trying to level up any of the characters, because it's just taking so much. And it's just like, well, in case I want to do some more on one of the events where I need chronotons, I'm just building them up. But by the time these events come round, I can usually get a couple of thousand chronotons built up. But like these crafting events, it just goes so quickly. So
Yeah.
after 10-15 minutes, I can't do any more crafting. And yeah, it sort of stops. It's just, okay. But yeah, it's just so hard to play the game. There are just so many areas where if you want to play, you can't. And it's just like, okay, well, you can, but you just got to give us lots of money. And it's not like it's that affordable either.
Oh, God, no.
So if at the moment I really don't have the cash, but if I did have even a little bit of cash, it's not like it's exactly cheap to do. So in order to continue, you'd end up paying a fair amount of money, and yeah, what do you get for it? Literally a few minutes extra game time. It's just like, well, sorry, that's not worth it. Not for me. And it's a shame. It's just, there's too many things that just stop me from playing. Whereas, as I said, Star Trek Online, I can do so many things. I get a bit fed up with one character that's on a particular ship or build. Oh, I'll just switch to another one. That's in a different fleet, so that's another group of people I can talk to. See who's going to run these missions, who wants to try and do this, or I'll go do this accolade, or I might even choose to do some PvP. Sort of just plug in a different type of mission that I haven't played for a while. Yeah, it's just so many things I can do, and I just never feel that there's a barrier that stops me from doing it. The most that I get when I do that with Star Trek Online is, say I want to do one of the PvE missions and no one's queuing for it. I think that's probably the only time in Star Trek Online that that happens. And usually I can talk in like a fleet chat saying, look, I'm looking to get this amount of people to do this in, and I can usually get the people just from that fleet or by talking in Armada chat or some of the other chats that I've got, just saying looking for X amount of people. But it just takes sort of 10-20 minutes to arrange and then go. But that's the biggest sort of hurdle I get with Star Trek Online. But yeah, unfortunately, there are just too many things in timelines that just means nope. Doesn't matter if you want to play, you haven't got chronotons. Doesn't matter if you want to play because you've run out of tokens for the arena. Just I'll still more than likely keep just going in once every at least morning, lunchtime, and evening just to get the odd items. But at least it's given me some more time to start reading my books again. Because since Timeline came out, the time that I spent reading books went from literally every spare minute that I'd got was just I'd read an extra sort of paragraph or something to nothing at all when I started playing Timelines. And yeah,
You can do the G&T book club again.
Need to try and get people reading the same books with that, but yeah, have got some ideas to maybe try and do it where we each review a different book. But at the moment, I haven't actually been reading Star Trek books.
Blasphemer.
Well, actually, when doing an episode of the G&T show, somebody actually said it's actually good to read other books from other writers because, of course, when it comes to a lot of the Star Trek novels, it's the same authors. So since then, once I finished the book that I was on, I then went on to read other books. So I actually read the trilogy of the Hunger Games. I read the 8-book Stargate Atlantis series. I've read Jesper from the G&T show. She wrote a book. So I've read that, and I'm actually currently reading another friend's book. Baz, he wrote a book. So I'm in the process of reading that at the moment. And it's good seeing the different writing styles. So it is different. But yeah, I do want to get back because there's been so many new books, especially this year, that have come out. So I did start looking before I remembered that I'd got Baz's book to read at the Star Trek novels. And sort of I'm thinking, okay, which ones have I read? Which ones haven't I? And so it's just like, okay, I'm going to have to find the reading list and then go through my Amazon account and try and figure out which books I haven't actually read, and then work out where I'm going to start. But I'm thinking of starting off doing the Voyager novels from Kirsten Beyer, because the only Voyager ones that I'd read were the Christine Golden ones, which I did enjoy. But yeah, out of all the books that I've read, I've not read as much Voyager as any of the other ones that I have, because I've mainly been reading like the TNG DS9 ones that continue after the Destiny trilogy. So yeah, I think once I get back into the Trek books, I'm going to start with Kirsten Beyer's books. And I know there's some between Christine and Kirsten, but I might just start there because, especially as she's writing a lot of the stuff for Star Trek Discovery, I'll get a better sense of sort of how she writes and her characters and everything else, because I've not really read much from her. So I think that'll probably be my next stop. So one good thing about not being able to do things in timelines is getting book time. So think that's it for Star Trek timelines.
Well, now that we have him here, Dragon, or is he still?
I didn't do it.
Yes, you did.
I did not.
Unless you didn't do it, in which case, shame on you.
Yes, I had a blast at the con.
No, not that. Tell us your thoughts about Beyond. You know, the recent film that come out.
Asshole should not have scheduled it to be released the same goddamn weekend as the con.
So you still haven't seen it yet?
I actually have tickets to go see it tomorrow night.
Okay, now give us an update on your con.
Oh, where do I start? Yeah,
I would start with the Peters panel.
Well, why don't you start with which convention you went to remind people who can't remember?
Okay, just to remind everybody, it was the Fort Collins Comic-Con. It was, they actually called it FC3, even though it was the second time they'd held it. It was a smashing success for the library district. Last year they raised $15,000, and this year the preliminary count by noon on the first day was $25,000 that was raised for the district. So everybody that went, congratulations.
That's really good.
Did an amazing job. The panels that I went to there were 9 different ones, and I actually ended up as a guest speaker on one of them, which was kind of surprising. It was a lot of fun and a lot of interesting people. There are 2 groups that I spoke to directly that we're trying to work out details as to when they might be able to come on. One of them being the USS Tiburon crew, which is part of the Star Trek Fan Association. And hey, son, I'll let you tell them about the other group that I've made contact with.
Guys, for as far as I'm aware, now this may be completely different, but as far as I am aware, since my time being on this podcast, this is the first time I've ever had any member here talk about making first contact with Star Trek Outpost. Guys, Star Trek Outpost. Dragon, go.
Star Trek Outpost is an audio drama that has been in production for, I believe, almost 7 years now. And they are Parsec winners, Parsec Award winners, which are, publicly voted on podcasts that are chosen by the listeners as to who gets to win the award. They have been in the finalists for the Parsec Awards numerous times, and I happen to speak to their 2 primary voices, and 2 primary male acting voices, and they have said that they would love to come on and be as part of an episode with us. Yes, son, you may now get all fangirl squeaky.
It is a really great audio drama, guys. It really is. My first time listening to Outpost was on Trek Radio during their A Christmas Carol type episode with the commander of the station. I absolutely fell in love with that audio drama right then and there. It's Trek 2. Go check it out. GiantGnomeProductions.com. Guys, seriously.
So, hopefully we can get something scheduled with those groups soon. So,
I went to a number of the AMA panels, Ask Me Anything panels. including the 2 that Gigi Edgley had, 1 that Richard Hatch had, and unfortunately the one for Robert Myers Burnett was scheduled at the exact same time, or else I'd have went with that and seen just how big a fanboy he was actually being that weekend. Anyways, I'm in the process of trying to clean up the audio from the interviews that I was able to get. May end up actually having to redo Gigi's because of so much background noise. But I am currently working on trying to get that all finalized and uploaded. And yeah, the panel that I actually got rather abruptly inducted on was a panel about podcasting. One of the local podcast crews up there that does a movie review podcast found out that not only was I in the room, but also the 2 members from the Outpost production team were there, and so what originally started out as a 5-person panel turned into an 8-person panel, and there was a lot of information shared, primarily from myself and from Outpost as to programs we use and what we use for mixers and all that sort of fun to help have a good sounding audio and yeah, what we do to have fun, to unwind, and a lot of networking between podcasts, and it was a lot of fun. If you ever get a chance to go to one of the smaller cons, like this one currently is, I highly recommend it, especially if it's your first time being able to go, or ever, or if it's just been a while. Because a smaller con, there's still a lot to do, there's still a lot to see, but you don't get overwhelmed nearly as much as you would, say, going to Dragon Con, which was this last weekend, or some of the other cons.
So, what was the highlight of the event for you?
Oh, well, according to our Facebook chat, it was the assimilated Cardassian.
Yes, one of the members of the Tiburon crew actually used to work for CBS Studio, and he was one of the designers for the Cardassian prosthetics. And he, on a whim, decided, you know what, this is something I've never seen. So he designed an actual assimilated Cardassian full body costume, complete with prosthetics and everything. And it's rather amazing. I have to say that it was really, really cool. I'm also editing a few pictures that were taken while I was there so that they're a little bit cleaner, and see what I can do about getting them added on at some point somehow through the notes or whatever, so that you guys can be able to actually see that outfit and some of the information about the Tiburon. Which we'll probably see what we can do about getting their actual website into the show notes if Midnight remembers. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff that was there that I'm still trying to process all of it, because it's like I found out that Gigi's bread and butter for basically the last 3 years has been doing basically fan productions. And she's got 2 of them that are going that are really cool.
Dragon's very giddy.
Well, you would be too if every time you turned around, Gigi Edgley came up and said, you know what, I need a hug. Give me a hug. All right.
Wow, doesn't she know she's not supposed to touch the cosplayers? That's rude. I'm kidding. I'm kidding, everyone. Don't send me hate mail.
Oh, well, yeah, you won't have to. My love mail will definitely outdo their hate mail any day, and you know it, sweetheart. But
This is true.
Anyways, Richard Hatch, one of his big things going on is he currently does an acting class. Basically, it's an abbreviated acting class focusing on method acting within the sci-fi genre. The price on that one at this con was $75 for an hour and a half, and that it's done as a group. And so, yeah, I wasn't really too keen on that price tag. But yeah, I've got a link to a couple of the different places where he's got information about it, and we'll see what we can do about getting all that information clarified and codified and put into a little more easily digestible format for everybody, and get those added in as well.
I'm glad you had a good time. Star Trek fan films. I think Renegades will be doing some more stuff very soon. As you mentioned, their Indiegogo completed last week, so haven't noticed any new news from them recently. A reminder that what was Star Trek Anthology, that's now known as The Outer Rim, they're always looking for help, so if you'd like to support them, head over to thunderclap.it and do a search for what lies at the Outer Rim. Now, community feedback. We did ask last week, what conventions have you or will you be attending, and what are you looking forward to? So,
Okay, I shot my wad early. Sorry.
that's all right. Now, we had some feedback on the Star Trek Online forums. The first post was from Borticus, who, of course, we had on the show last week. So he said, "Thanks for having me on to ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble and ramble." Well, you're always welcome. It was great fun having you on the show again.
And damn it, I missed it.
You
Same
did
here.
indeed.
I wish I was there.
Oh, you managed to get it into chat, didn't you, Stu? Though TeamSpeak was a little bit messed up.
I just sort of cut my losses and then I just jumped into chat. Yeah.
Must Rum Ridcully 0 did reply to Borticus saying, "You answered my question about the back-end changes exactly the same I hoped for. I don't need the UI itself, but the back-end changes improve performance. That's what we want in Stowe." So that's regarding the changes in the UI and the lighting that we'd been discussing. Deerwalk 0769 said, "And Sing, thanks for sharing this on the show. What did you mean by prove food and drink?" So Borticus replied, "It's improve, as in make them more meaningful and or fun." So Mark Hawkman had replied, "The holiday foods are a good step." We also had another reply from Jaywalk 0769 that then said, in regards to the comment from Borticus, "I see, thanks. Perhaps a simple start would be some fruits provide a bonus energy or attack defense dodge to stimulate a prolonged sugar rush." So sort of giving you some extra energy. So e.g. eating orange slices while playing soccer. Veggies could provide a bonus in base energy, sort of overall fullness or well-being. simulate in any number of ways. Perhaps you could doff more, get an extra Admiralty bonus, develop especially effective attack plans with a fully fueled brain. And there's a couple of other suggestions. So, and of course, I'm sure we'll have Sybil talking about a certain other bit of food that is wanted in the game.
So would that mean that Romulan ale would make your character sort of everything will be a lot brighter, and your character would act like they have a headache?
Only if they mix it with sorry and brandy.
So yeah, Joe Walk 0769 has quite a few suggestions regarding different types of food, and even drinks. So yeah, the link will be in our show notes if you'd like to read the entire idea that they've come up with. So just listen to the show. Yes, my name was pronounced correctly. Good listen, thank you. So whether or not I actually pronounced it the same way and correctly this time, no doubt I've got it wrong. Chozo Elder Second said, I've never been to any convention and I don't plan on attending one in the near future. Then goes on to some feedback on the Cardassian Dominion lockbox. I wouldn't worry about it. I may have worried if it was one single ship available through the sea store or some other easy means of acquiring a ship. But we're talking about a lockbox with 2 grand prize ships and a Lobby ship. We all know how successful those are. I don't think they would make any lockbox exclusive. There's just too much profit there not to have. In addition, it was confirmed that the new Tier 6 Jem'Hadar consoles and the previous Jem'Hadar consoles are part of the same set bonus. And then there is a link to the stats of the console lockbox, where they go on to say this 3-piece set includes the consoles from the Jem'Hadar Dreadnought Carrier, both Tier 5 and Tier 6, the Jem'Hadar Heavy Escort Carrier, again both Tier 5 and Tier 6, and the Jem'Hadar Recon Strike Ship, which is just Tier 6. I know that this isn't necessarily definitive proof that it is coming, but it's a pretty good clue that it will. I don't think they'd pass up the demand for it making the assets. Like I said, I wouldn't worry about it, it's just a matter of when. On 3D models, I've always wanted models of Stowe ships. There are quite a lot of Stowe exclusive ships that I would want merchandise of. So, Regent, Concorde, Guardian, Avenger, Ning Tao, Mo, Bortesque, Quib, and yeah, I'm not going to try pronouncing the rest of them because I know I'm going to butcher them badly. And the list goes on, but I'll stop. Just making out is all. There are so many ships in this game that are eye candy for me. Very, very true. Then someone pointed out that the website's prices of their other models, they're exorbitantly expensive, even for the smallest size. $30 for a 3 or 4 inch model is really pushing it, and that's assuming if they're even offering to sell them at those sizes. That being said, something stated in the blog was very interesting. Captains will be able to print any ship they own with all of the customization options, material variants, shield material variants, colour variants, and of course their personal ship name and registry. Like Timberwolf said, they are offering 100% complete customization. They were willing to go the extra 24 miles. This kind of deal is hard to pass up, and I'm sure they opened the doors to at least a few customers just from this move alone. I personally can't justify a purchase based on the other prices when you consider their corresponding sizes. It's there for people who are willing, but I don't see those selling like hotcakes to everyone. It's still fair, I guess. When I saw an Ambio of Little Mac got announced, not sure what that is. I freaked out and said to myself, I have to get this. Where else am I going to get Punch-Out merchandise? It depends on how much a person wants it. You guys know what Punch-Out is?
Negative.
No.
Maybe
Yeah,
it's
that
another
would
game.
be a big negatory here, but all I'm going to say is this. If I can ever find a way to afford them to make the model of my adapted destroyer, yeah, they're probably going to hate me because of all the sharp, pointy parts on it.
Punch-Out appears to be a game for the Wii.
Ah, okay.
It's a boxing game.
Thank you very much. But yeah, it's the same with most of these things. It'll be there if people are willing to pay for it. It's the same with sort of just the model ships that are out as well. If you could afford to get them, then great. But for a lot of people, they can't afford to keep getting all those ships all the time.
Yeah,
So,
how many million would you have to drop Midnight in order to get all of your ships? Yeah, okay. How many personal loans would you have to take out plus mortgages on the house?
Exactly.
The car's not fixed, but look at all these cool ships.
yeah. Need to get car sorted
And the
first.
wife would string you up by how many tender parts for doing that?
Mm-hmm.
All of them.
But yeah, as they said, at the moment, the actual pricing and the sizes haven't actually been released yet. So yeah, hopefully we'll get that sometime soon. They then go on to say, on the 50th anniversary, I know that Agents of Yesterday was the main celebration of the 50th, and there's been plenty of other stuff celebrating it as well. I wasn't expecting anything big or any C-store giveaways, but I was expecting at least something on the actual birthday. At least a blog that would be enjoyable to read, or perhaps a little title akin to the 25th anniversary of the Next Generation. It was a tad bit disappointing to see nothing at all show up. They're just really busy with the console launch, I suppose, but it's fine. Then again, if it was a blog or a title, then it's likely that some people would still be upset. It's a sort of lose-lose situation. And then they did a little edit that says, never mind, they were a tiny bit late is all, and it happened to be a post a few minutes before it went live. Thanks again, Cryptic, which is obviously in relation to the giveaway of the 23rd century items that we mentioned earlier on in the show. We had a comment from Vengeful Digin.
Gin, just gin. Make the
Fueled
make the
Gin. Yep. Vengeful Fueled Gin. Yeah.
No, vengeful gin. Make the D silent.
Always liked Borticus from his podcast days on Stoked. Any podcast he's on is always a good listen. We then had a comment from Alex Wunger. Okay, let's get this over with. Community questions. I have not attended any Star Trek convention, nor do I plan to in the foreseeable future. Maybe one day I can fit something into my budget. Well, both budgets, the time budget and the money budget. But it's not really possible right now. What did I expect for the 50th anniversary? Well, I'm still waiting for the annual end of summer giveaway. But those tended to be closer to the end of the Riser event, so I guess they're going to skip it this year. Shrug. I guess we got this 24-hour TOS bundle giveaway instead. Hey, Cryptic, turning it into a 50-hour giveaway might have been a nice little twist. And why didn't they do it at 2 p.m. Pacific time?
No, sis. Why did they do it at 2 p.m.? Because normally they do it at 10 a.m., when all that stuff goes live.
Does someone know when the first episode aired? I mean, at what time? That was a big yawn.
I think somebody might need a wee bit of coffee.
That would be the wolf, guys. Come on.
That was me.
He's tired. Wolfie is tired.
Tired? What's that?
Anyway.
He's been making a left turn all day, so yeah.
Anyway, I'm used to the 10-11 a.m. window, but I guess they're too busy counting all the monies they got because of the expansion and the Kelvin and Infinity lockbox, and the R&D pack promo and the console launch. And now that I said it, can anyone remember this kind of rapid-fire money-making attempts by Cryptic? But hey, they probably need the money to pay for the Tier 6 Nagus battlecruiser and the Wrath of Khan dilithium uniforms, right? It'll be really interesting to see what they spent all those dollars and euros and other currencies on. Feedback. Well, that was a great interview. It's always nice to have a dev who explains why something might or might not be happening and who seems to really like his job and Star Trek. It makes all those questionable decisions all the more heartbreaking. And when he talked about how great customizable ship interiors would or could be, if they ever found a reason to make them happen. Yes, please, me once. It reminds me of when Dan Stoll talked about being able to use the Foundry or some Foundry-like tool to customize our ship interiors years ago. I think it was Dan Stoll because he liked to share his visions. Size. Why can't we have nice things? Sorry, that's why we can't have nice things. But I digress. Later on we heard that customizable ship interiors might mess up missions that take place on our ships. Remind me, how many of those do we have in game? And when Borticus talked about how it would fit into the vision of Trek better than some random attempt at making housing happen, well, you could argue that Cisco had a house on Bayshore, and most people on those ship stations had a place they'd consider home that was not their quarters. But I agree that the ship interior could be the first choice for housing, because that's what the show's focused on. By the way, since we're talking about the vision of Trek, what does that mean to you Tribbles? I mean, some people have cried for an endgame Connie, and now they've got it. The temporal ships, and then the Connie, and then the Connie. Since Cryptic Perfect
He spelled
World...
Connie the first time with K, so it's the Kelvin Connie, so Con-E, okay, guys? Kelvin K. Connie, okay? There you go.
Since Cryptic Perfect World and CBS decided to cross all the timelines, people have also been asking to be able to wear Ryzen swimwear outside of Riser. So when is that going to happen? And when do we get the Borg lockbox with the Tier 6 or Tier 6.5 Borg cube? You know, there's money inside that Borg lockbox. And since I haven't tried it, I think I read somewhere that the Enterprise, Defiant and Voyager registry numbers are supposedly blocked. Can you imagine how much money some people might be willing to pay to access those? What? My vision of Trek? Good question. I guess if someone had believed in the 2409 setting and immersion and telling good stories and just shot down all the Connie and Excelsior requests right away, or offered true 2409 versions instead. Maybe offer an RP shard like a lot of MMORPGs do. There was so much potential in this game. Size. Happy anniversary, Star Trek. By the way, Blizzard just published, or is about to publish, the World of Warcraft companion app. I still haven't bought the recent expansion, Legion, but if the class order stuff is anything like the garrisons in Warlords of... is that Draenor?
Draenor, yes, the previous expansion.
You could compare it to the DOF Admiralty systems. Maybe Sybil could correct me if I'm wrong. So, other more successful, if I might add that, companies actually produce apps for these mini-games. But Perfect World can't be bothered to put the DOF and Admiralty stuff in the already existing gateway. Golf clap. Hey, Perfect World, any news on a dev tracker for those supposedly great new forums?
Vanilla! Isn't it wonderful having not chocolate?
Then
I prefer strawberry.
Then Alex made an edit and added something regarding the roleplay blog of Hawks and Doves. Remember how I used to like these blogs until they mentioned something unbelievably stupid? I thoroughly enjoyed this blog. Not a single mention of the whole temporal disaster, and yes, the blog still tries to sell me on the idea that the skirmish with the Iconians was supposed to be a war. Shrug. But the rest, I enjoyed it. It's actually funny how Nog is happy about doing science and exploration again. That probably won't happen because we're told the exact same thing about season 11.5 New Dawn, but just looking at the blog and ignoring any future implications, great blog. Thank you, Alex, and everybody else for your comments there. On Facebook, we had Fred Ortiz that said for the question of the week, I'm not big on travelling, but I do tend to do stuff locally. That said, with local random conventions promoted by stores, the biggest being Camden Comic Con, which is put on by Rutgers University, and that's the next one I'll be heading to in April of 2017.
That's Rutgers.
Rutgers, is it? Okay.
Yes.
Well, I hope you enjoy the convention in April, Fred. And thank you for getting in touch with us. Now, we don't tend to get much in the way of feedback through Reddit. Usually people downvote it as soon as it's posted. And it's just like, seriously, you haven't even listened to it. But yeah, we actually got some feedback.
It's interesting that we get downvoted on Reddit after the Reddit Admiralty, let's put it that way, decided that a podcast couldn't be a separate thing from Star Trek Online. That isn't connected to Star Trek Online. Funny how that works, isn't it? It's almost like there's a system in place of bots to just instantly try and kill anything on Reddit that people don't like with fire.
But yeah, we got some feedback. We had Sub-Commander Kinara that says, very good interview, being downvoted by people who haven't even clicked the link, as always. In addition to what M Hall 85 noted, I think I'm reading it in the wrong order. Yeah, because I think it starts from the bottom, I think. I always get confused with the way that Reddit lays all this out. Okay, so yeah, M Hall 85 said, important comments from Bort here. The console version and PC version are going to be the same game. The blogs have not said, namely the Cardi Dom Box blogs anything about console exclusivity. The box itself isn't coming to PC, but they create things for the game as a whole. See above statement. So connect the dots if you haven't already. Future Pass now says console exclusivity. So where can I buy that Tier 1 Kamari? So there's a bit of a discussion. M Hall 85 said you can't buy it on the console either. It will be a free giveaway for 4 weeks, then go away. The PC version of that ship was tied to some Neverwinter purchase. There's a long way to go from these two ships are console exclusive giveaways for 4 weeks to everything released on console first is console exclusive. Balloon99 replied saying, frankly, I'll believe the Cardi Dom box stuff is coming to PC when I see it. Just like I'll believe the Steam Runner is not now a console exclusive when they find a way to let PC players access it again. Neos472 replied, Trendy has already stated that the Steam Runner and all other products that are being sold on Steam were removed due to exploits, and are working on getting the ships back in.
Honestly, look, you guys are making the same argument people have made countless times in about Stowe. It's a matter of, look, there's the rumors, there's the people in the dev department and the whispering department going, we're working on stuff, and it's like, it's a matter of, no, prove it to us, don't prove to us through actions, not words. And when they deliver on something utterly lackluster, it's like, okay, you can't prove anything to us. Okay, time to move on.
We had Regulus FF7 that said, with all due respect, Borticus, for God's sake, let people choose event rewards already. It will solve all the questions regarding the event. Exclude something else? Event exclusive ship parts or skin or Mandris? I will still want it, but I won't hate the game for not getting it. So yeah, that's when Sub-Commander Kanara then left a message. And in addition to what M Hall 85 noted, some other interesting bits from this. Discussion about the lithium economy. No plans to expand the existing specs, but there will likely be a new primary within the next year. And still talking about possible improvements to R&D, like changing mods. A torpedo speed increase is in testing. Might improve cannon speed too. No plan to revamp the PC UI. Some neat discussion about ship interiors. In reply to that, Burst Dragon 323 said, God, all they need to do to improve the UI is take all of the textures it uses and downsample them. The FPS drop are not just from bad coding, but the fact the artists have massive lusts for 100,000 by 100,000 textures in everything. Grey Spectre 2100 said, it's good to hear about the torpedo increase speed after using KT photons. What's the KT?
Probably
Kelvin
Is
timeline.
that Kelvin timeline? Yeah, I just don't remember any Kelvin timeline photons, but I suppose I haven't got that ship, so it might be related to that. After using KT photons, all other torpedoes feel like they're crawling across the screen. So yeah, thank you all for your feedback. And yeah, as Sub-Commander Kanara also pointed out regarding the downvoting, yeah, that link to the show was only 54% upvoted, and most of the downvotes happened very quickly. So they didn't actually listen to it. It's just you're supposed
Yeah,
to
guys,
downvote.
listen to the show before you slate us. Come on.
Well, it's you find that a lot with Reddit. It's just like people, if it's not what they like, they downvote it, and it's not that they don't like what the content is about. It's just like they don't like the subject matter. And it's just like, well, no, downvoting and upvoting, you upvote it because you actually like what it is and what it's about. You downvote it because you don't like what it's about, as in the actual subject matter or what you've heard or read. But just because it's not something you're interested in, or just because it's a podcast. And I know other podcasters who they post to Reddit and exactly the same thing happens. It's like, podcast downvote. It's just like, seriously? Actually give it a try first. But hey.
I wonder if this happens on the Yogscast subreddit. I should go check that out.
Oh,
I don't like Sips, or I don't like Shin. Downvote, downvote, downvote.
The thing is, I post to a couple of subreddits, and Stowe, I find, is the one is really bad with this. Podcast gets put up there, whether it's Tribbles or other podcasts, and it's just automatically downvoted. And it's just like, yeah, given when this was posted and how long it's been, they haven't listened to it, and it's just, and you don't get that in like the Star Trek ones. It's just like, yeah, it's something about the people in the Stowe subreddit, to be honest.
Oh, that's neat. Okay, I've not really ever been to the Star Trek Online subreddit. The banter, the banner in the back of the on the top of the page changes from the TOS ships to the temporal ships. If you put your mouse over it.
Yeah.
That's neat.
Damn it, son, you've got me doing it now. Old you, old you, old you.
So, thank you everybody for all your comments. It's always great to hear what you have to say. So, I think that's it for this week. Any of you guys got any community questions you'd like to ask?
Are you burnt out on Timelines or Star Trek Online or just about any other Star Trek game? If so, what burnt you out of it?
And what do you think would get you back in?
If you were to spend any sum of money per month on a game, what would be your sort of cap? How much would you be willing to pay into either Stowe or Timelines?
Okay. Well, thank you all for listening, and I hope you've all had a nice 50th anniversary. So, actually, that'll be the second community question. Tell us what you did for the 50th. Did you do anything on Thursday, September 8th, specifically for the 50th anniversary yourself? We'd love to know what you did.
I watched The Man Trap.
Me too.
Speaking of that, I just saw on Facebook one of those premiere digests of what an episode would be, like from a really, really old TV guide thing.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Let me go see if I can find it. Let me scroll up.
On another subject, the episode of Voyager that I watched was, I guess the theme of it was almost like the words "man trap." Harry got led to this planet by these alien women claiming they were.
Yes, the sirens.
Yes, and they tried to kill him and steal his DNA.
Hmm.
Oh
Yay, of
no,
course,
another
happened to
death by
Harry.
snoo.
I know, like, he's such an unlucky guy.
It's called Homecoming, I think.
Yeah, I think it might have been Homecoming.
Okay, so it says 8:30, Channel 5, Star Trek premiere. Twilight Zone type science fiction series aims at kids and adults, with a weird opener about an alien body on a strange planet who assumes shapes of men or women in its quest for life-giving salt. The puzzling plot teeters on the absurd, but walkie-talkie devices, colored space food, laser beam guns, and the pointed ears of Spaceman Spock, Leonard Nimoy, will appeal to the youngsters. The star of the series is normal-eared William Shatner playing a no-nonsense spaceship captain. Color. If
Sounds
that's
about
not,
right.
If that's not the best description of that episode ever, I don't know what is.
Yep, that's pretty accurate.
Actually, Homecoming is the book from Christine Golden on Voyager. It's actually Favourite Son, I believe.
Okay.
Yes, that's one favourite son.
I thought it was Homecoming because they spend the whole episode trying to convince Harry, welcome home.
Yeah, no, I thought it was as well when you mentioned it, and then I suddenly thought, hang on, no, Homecoming was the book. Was there an episode named that as well? So I did a little Google.
I think there was an episode, but it was Talaxians in an asteroid.
I thought that was in the game.
Now, it happens in the show. It's the episode where Neelix leaves the ship.
Yep. That's quite near the end of the entire series altogether. Neelix helps defend a colony
Spoiler
of...
alert, y'all.
Well, it's been years, so screw you if you're worried about spoilers.
But no, that one was actually called Homestead.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, Neelix defends a barely surviving asteroid colony of Talaxians from these people who want to mine the freaking asteroids, and the whole of the Enterprise. Look at me, it's the 50th.
Lol.
Forgive me. The whole of Voyager helps him in this endeavor, and he decides to stay behind because he wants to start a family with Dexa and her little boy. Which, oddly enough, we never see the little boy in the new, the Star Trek Online mission ever. Plot hole, anyone?
Drax.
I thought we did see him in the missions.
I don't remember seeing Drax.
Because at the whole point while we're talking to Neelix, he goes on and on and on about Dexa and only Dexa. And only Dexa.
But you also have to remember, when he's talking to Tuvok, as you're going down the hallway, it talks about him. Yeah, Tuvok, man. Didn't you know? It's like the new Tuvok. It's like totally rad.
After all the crap that happened to him in Mindscape, I'd be surprised if he wasn't a Nuvok.
Well, this is true. But anyways, as they're walking down the hall, it's talking about he still wants to stay behind and start a family. And when they found this new planet, there's room to grow and expand a family and put down roots, and there's room for the kids to play and all that.
And we can build a kitchen.
And the kitchen's completely furnished.
Well, at least he found some other... If you play on the Klingon side, at least he found some other stuff other than Leola root. Because on the Klingon side, you're literally hopping around the map collecting foodstuffs. That's your side quest. You're not like settling a work dispute thing. You're collecting foodstuffs for a feast.
You make it sound like Mario, like run about this map and collect mushrooms.
That's basically what you're doing. You're playing Paper Mario in Star Trek Online. You're collecting you're collecting this mushroom and this fire flower and this coconut, and you're going to go take them to the cook that's going to make them into a bomb.
I just realised that Homestead was actually directed by LeVar Burton.
Yes, it was. There were quite a few episodes of Voyager that were directed by the TNG cast.
So yeah, I don't usually pay much attention to the credits. I must admit, I have done more recently.
This is why we don't see B'Elanna's actor in too many in a lot of acting roles, because she too is behind the camera now, because she did direct a few episodes of Voyager.
Yeah, and I knew she had, but I didn't. I'm just looking through very quickly, and yeah, there's quite a few that LeVar Burton has actually done, and even Robert Duncan McNeil, and yeah. Anyway, that's it for this week. Timberwolf says bye. He's had to bow out. So,
Wow.
so until next week, take care, everyone.
Shoot straight, shoot fast, and fire the torpedoes.
See ya.
Don't forget, you can always schmooze a little.
Thanks for tuning in to tonight's broadcast of Tribbles and Ecstasy, a production of Holosuite Media. Tune in to our live show every Friday at 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Be sure to check Holosuite Media, iTunes, and Stitcher Satellite Radio for our remastered shows and more. You can follow us on Twitter at Tribbles in XTC, or if you have any questions or comments, please send an email to tribblesandEcstasy@gmail.com. Join us next week for another episode of Tribbles and Ecstasy, the only place where Tribbles and Klingons are friends.